here to the free agents, and we kind of collabed on a few things with the written wise with the end of the season roster decisions, right? With the Reign having 8 unrestricted free agents and then waiving Mackenzie Weiner. Um, so you still got two, four, yeah, 7 of them available of the unrestricted free agents. Mackenzie Weiner is listed here, but she wasn't one of the players we originally talked about. And I imagine if they, released her from her loan, they're not really going to bring her back. I
Yeah.
imagine that they didn't like what they had seen from her um, during her loan with Spokane, which is interesting to me. I mean, they'd brought her on and off, right? Over the last few years. So I'd wanted to see her worked out because I'm Husky, so I'm biased in that regard. I like seeing the Bro Dog the to the Reign pipeline, but yeah, they obviously well, not obviously, but I in my mind they didn't see what they wanted with Weinert's loan. Her numbers, just looking at what statistics the Super League has available, weren't the greatest for what a forward should be. So I understand that. It sucks, but I understand it. And then the free agents. So Laurel Ivory's gone. She signs with the current. The rest of the 7 are unsigned at this current point in time, and I haven't seen anything linking them to anybody, right? But the Reign made farewell posts for 6 of the 8. Obviously, Laurel when she signed with the current, but Quinn, Ziara King, Nikki Stanton, Olivia Athens, and Maya Perez have all gotten goodbye posts or themselves have posted something. With Ziara King, which I think is the main one we'll focus on, um, really, because everyone else was just kind of like, oh, it was great to spend my time here. They had nothing but great things to say with Seattle. Ziara King, the first line in her like written piece of her Instagram post was, I'll get it for sure, but it there was disappointment with not getting a deal done. It sounded like, right? And you and I had kind of bounced things off each other, right? When it came to these free agents, we just figured that with Jess Fishlock signing on for one more year, and um, with Wales, with Jess wanting to probably get that one last run in with Wales, that I imagine a 1 year deal would have been done. I just figured that made the most sense. Um, Z got a lot of minutes this past year. I know that had been something she had wanted more of. Um, previously wanted more of that opportunity, that playing time. Um, you know, uh, and I just figured, hey, they're a 1 year deal makes both sense for both sides. For the Reign, to bring in a forward that they already know, they're comfortable with, and obviously, I'm sure Z and Jess wanted that, and I imagine the club would have wanted that. And for Z, if hey, Jess retires, um, and Z is like, okay, Seattle, I've loved my time here, but I want to pursue a new journey, maybe a different opportunity. I thought that's why it made sense to me. But yeah, in the first line of her written part of her post to really farewell for the Reign, in a really disappointing turn of events, my time at the Reign has come to an end. Really disappointing turn of events. That leads me to believe something happened in like the contract process, because this comes 2 weeks ago. This isn't when roster decisions were made, right? So I don't know. Were you surprised by that? What did you think about that? And if you've got any further thoughts on the other 6 that seemingly aren't returning to the Reign.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely surprised, especially because like when we had talked previously, she kind of seemed like one of the sure like locks on the roster. Like it just seemed pretty easy. Like she has obviously all these connections. She showed great improvement this season compared to previous seasons, like more minutes, all that. And it just seemed like I didn't see the post before you had sent me, but I was pretty shocked just seeing like the um even like the initial post that she was gone, like that was kind of a initial shock. And then I saw her post about like her what you had just read, and it's definitely clear that something else was going on, but it's that was definitely not something I would have expected from the roster decisions. And then with the rest of them, I we kind of talked about like Athens and um who else? I can't remember off the top of my head, but there were a couple that we had talked about who were like on the bubble. But I didn't think that they were all gonna be like gone. I thought like maybe one would stay and one would go, but it's definitely, at least at this point, it's clear that like the midfield should be the priority. I mean, like everything's kind of mixed up now. They still kind of have like somewhat of a core group, but some of the people that I thought would still be there are no longer there. So I think definitely the focus with if they're going to get other free agents, I think should be kind of building that midfield into a stronger group.
We'll see if I get interrupted here. The I am at Climate Pledge Arena, so they're going through pregame rehearsals. I think
Oh,
Quinn was the big one, Quinn's just been someone who's been such a stable force for the Reign in that mid. You again, you talk about that midfield, right? And Olivia Athens as well. Yeah, I think there were of this group. I thought Laurel Ivory would make sense to bring back because you feel comfortable, you know her, but because she's been in that backup role and she'd shown well when she was able to get minutes this past year, it makes a lot of sense for her wanting to get a different opportunity. And with Boston getting a team obviously Laurel's from that area, it makes sense down the line she'd probably want to try and go and play in front of family and friends and go there. So we'll see if that happens down the line. Obviously, she's in Kansas City now. But yeah, Quinn and Olivia Athens, yeah, right. That's right where I would agree with you. Um, Athens had shown well in her minutes this year. I think this year was a big year for her because in the years past she was just kind of on the bench, right? And Quinn again, such a dependable force in that midfield. They've been a favorite of Laura Harvey's, and while that's disappointing, and I'm shocked by it, it kind of signals to me, and this will kind of lead to our final topic, which I'm not there yet. I want to talk about Lou and Mercado. Um, they're showing that they are willing and ready to change after it really went south last year, right? I mean, you're in the playoffs for several years, you make it to the final now 2 years ago, right? Um, and this past season, you get the new branding, the sale goes through, you're looking to a new era. Um, After Megan Rapinoe, the sale obviously holds things up. Um, but I feel like there was hope. You start the season with a win at home, and then it just kind of all goes south and it never picks back up. So, um, that's what, at least with Quinn, someone who's been a stable and especially a favorite of Laura Harvey's, it makes sense. It sounds to me like they are ready to move on, and be committed to change. So with Lou, at least what I've been told from the folks that I'm in tune with is that there's no worry about Lou Barnes returning. What we had been told at the end of the year presser is that General Manager Leslie Gallimore had been in constant contact with Lou Barnes. They want to do right by her. They don't want to rush a decision, because Lou's played a lot of minutes in this league. Obviously, an original. I know when I did my one-on-one interview with her a few years ago, uh, she got emotional talking about the California expansion teams because, I mean, being able to play back home would have been great, I imagine, play in front of her family and her friends on a consistent, because obviously the Rain go down there and they're just up the coast, but it is different, right? Um, but I think what I remember from that interview is she said that Seattle was home and that she had so many connections now. She still goes to California off season. Last I've seen via social that she was there. Um, yeah, and I'm in my mind thinks that if Jess is doing this last year, and again, Jess hasn't said this, but we can all kind of, I feel like we're all kind of assuming or presuming. I imagine Lou does as well, in my mind. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I don't really see her going anywhere else. And with everything that you said, like yeah, it would make a lot of sense. And I agree about Jess too. Like she did, it was a 1 year deal, so I think yeah, it kind of makes sense.
And Mercado's interesting to me. Oh, this is this seems wrong. They um sorry. I'm looking at Spot Track here look at the free agents and they have Maddie Mercado listed as 31 years of age, which is factually incorrect because she is 23 and born the same year I was in 2001. I was like, whoa. I know I messed up a question when I was talking when we were at the end of the season pressers. Um, because I lumped Mercado in with the U18s like Adamas and McCammon. I figure she's a younger player. That's where I was going with it. And I think Leslie was like, Maddie will be thrilled to think that you think she's 20. I'm like, whatever. Uh, um, um, my thought with Mercado is you drafted her last year in the second round. You obviously saw some things you liked in her. Um, you have some midfield turnover now with Athens and Quinn, whether that be they are moving on and committing to change like I've just talked about, or those players want a different change. Athens would make sense to me. Again, she's ridden the bench for a while. It would make sense if she won. I'm gonna try this again. God bless Benny Drawbars, but I'm trying to record something. Um, it would make sense to me for Mercado to come back is my main point. Just because, there's the midfield turnover and she's a younger player, they probably would want to see more from her. A loan would have made sense to me, honestly, when they were loaning out all these players like Sam Meza. Sam Meza has to come back, right? So, you know, it's that's where I'm at with those two. I think lose a lock and Mercado, I'm leaning like 70-30. That's my opinion. I don't know anything for certain on her, but that's where my mind is with that. You have anything on Mercado?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think she is more towards the lock side as well because yeah, obviously they saw something in her when they drafted her, and you would think they would want to continue to develop her even if she wasn't getting consistent minutes before. Like there's a reason that she's on the team. So yeah, I would think they'd want to keep her too.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, where are you going to watch all the away games for Seattle Reign FC this year?
Away games. Well, since Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, I was thinking of coming here if that's okay with you.
I think that makes a lot of sense. See y'all here.